the Persian Gulf, 0241 hours local time, 63 nautical miles southeast of Bahrain, in the shallow warm water that sits above the Safaniya oil field, the largest offshore oil field in the world, a subsea geological formation that has been producing crude petroleum since 1957 and that currently outputs approximately 1.2 million barrels per day through a network of underwater pipelines, wellheads, and the surface infrastructure that ties them together. The Safaniya Alpha production platform stands as it has stood for decades, a fixed steel structure rising 34 meters above the waterline, carrying 47 Saudi Aramco personnel across 3 operational shifts connected by pipeline to the Arabian shore, and lit up against the night sky with the continuous flare of burned-off associated gas that serves as both a byproduct of production operations and the most visible navigational landmark for 40 nautical miles in every direction. The flare is visible from the bridge of the USS The Sullivans tonight, as it has been visible every night of the destroyer's current Gulf patrol. It burns orange against the black sky, constant and indifferent, the visible signature of a facility that processes $120 million of crude oil per day, and that the United States Navy has been assigned to protect under the expanded maritime security operations, tasking that Fifth Fleet issued 14 months ago when IRGC maritime threat assessments elevated to their current sustained level. The USS The Sullivans, DDG-68, an Arleigh Burke Flight 1 guided missile destroyer, 8,300 tons, a crew of 280, is holding 9 knots on a slow patrol ellipse that keeps her between 6 and 11 nautical miles from the Safaniya Alpha platform at all times. She has been running this patrol ellipse for 7 days. Her commanding officer has read the same intelligence assessments that the Eisenhower Strike Group's commanders have been reading. The elevated threat analysis, the IRGC Aerospace Force operational patterns, the maritime operations tempo data. He has also read the specific assessment that arrived at Fifth Fleet 9 days ago and was disseminated to all platform protection assets within 48 hours. IRGC Navy and IRGC Aerospace Force joint operational planning had been detected in signals intelligence collection, suggesting a combined arms approach to a Gulf infrastructure target that would involve simultaneous employment of fast attack craft and one-way attack drones timed to arrive at the target from separate approach vectors within a compressed window. The assessment rated the probability of an operation within the next 30 days as moderate to high. Tonight is day 9 of that 30-day window. The AN/SQS-53C hull-mounted sonar detects the first underwater anomaly at 0241 hours and 07 seconds. Not a submarine contact, not a mine, but the low-frequency propeller signature of multiple small surface vessels operating without running lights at a range of approximately 11 nautical miles on bearing 062 degrees. The signature is consistent with the semi-planing hull form of the IRGC Navy's Seraj-class fast attack craft operating at reduced speed, approximately 18 knots, rather than their maximum 38 knots, in a configuration designed to minimize their radar cross-section approach profile by keeping their bow waves small and their radar returns low. The Sullivan's anti-submarine warfare officer has been briefed on the IRGC's acoustic approach doctrine. He has the sonar contact classified as probable fast attack craft within 40 seconds of first detection. He passes the contact report to the Combat Information Center at 0241 hours and 51 seconds. The AN/SPY-1DV radar acquires the surface contacts at 0242 hours and 14 seconds as the fast attack craft accelerate. Evidently, having received a timing cue from their coordinating element ashore, from 18 knots to approximately 34 knots, their bow waves and radar returns jumping simultaneously as they push to attack speed. 6 contacts. Bearing 062, range 10.3 nautical miles. 6 Seraj-class fast attack craft in a loose line abreast formation, each carrying a 23mm autocannon and an unguided rocket system. Each also, based on the signals intelligence collection from the pre-mission planning phase, carrying 2 Shahed-1 laser-guided anti-surface rockets that the IRGC has fitted to its fast attack craft as a precision standoff capability. Their approach vector is direct. Bearing 062 degrees from the Sullivans' position places the approaching contacts on a track that takes them between the Sullivans and the Safaniya Alpha platform, in a geometry that forces the Sullivans to either close toward the platform to intercept or maneuver away and allow the fast attack craft to reach the platform's immediate vicinity. The IRGC's planners designed the approach vector deliberately, but the approach vector was planned against a destroyer operating at standard anti-surface patrol posture, not against a destroyer whose AN/SQS-53C sonar acquired the fast attack craft 6 nautical miles outside their acceleration point and gave the commanding officer 4 minutes and 23 seconds of preparation time before the contacts reached their attack speed position. Those 4 minutes are the difference between a reactive defensive maneuver under fire and an offensive engagement at terms the Sullivans chose. At 02:41 hours and 58 seconds, 7 seconds after the CIC received the initial sonar contact report, the Sullivans' commanding officer ordered Alert 5 for the 2 AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters embarked from Marine Light Attack Helicopter Squadron 169, a detachment that was assigned to the Sullivans specifically because the expanded platform protection mission required organic rotary wing attack capability that the destroyer's own weapon systems could not provide against a dispersed fast attack boat threat in shallow water. Alert 5 means the AH-1Z crews are in their aircraft with rotors turning and weapons powered within 5 minutes. The 2 AH-1Z crews had been sleeping in the Alert 5 ready room since 2300 hours, a posture the Sullivans' commanding officer had established on day 1 of the Safaniya patrol and maintained every night since, because the IRGC's operational history shows a strong preference for pre-dawn attack timing in the 0200 to 0500 window. The AH-1Z crews were in their aircraft at 02:43 hours and 12 seconds. Both aircraft were airborne at 02:44 hours and 31 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds from initial sonar contact to rotors up. Now let us understand the AH-1Z Viper and what it brings to this engagement, because the specific capability match between the AH-1Z and the Seraj-class fast attack craft is more operationally significant than a simple firepower comparison suggests. The AH-1Z is the Marine Corps' primary attack helicopter, a twin-engine tandem-seat rotary-wing aircraft carrying a 20mm M1973 3-barrel Gatling cannon with 750 rounds, 4 AGM-114R Hellfire 2 missiles per stub wing, and 2 pods of 70mm Hydra 70 folding fin rockets. Its AN/AAQ-30 target sight system provides a forward-looking infrared and electro-optical targeting capability that allows the crew to acquire and engage surface contacts in complete darkness at ranges beyond 5 nautical miles, with the precision necessary to discriminate between the fast attack craft and the civilian fishing vessels that the Persian Gulf's shallow water environment distributes throughout any tactical picture. The AGM-114R Hellfires semi-active laser guidance and its 9-kilogram shaped charge warhead are lethal against the Seraj's 27-meter aluminum hulled structure. A single Hellfire detonating against a Seraj's engine compartment disables the craft with near certainty. The 20mm M197 against an unarmored fast attack craft at ranges under 2 nautical miles is similarly decisive, and the Hydra 70 rockets provide area suppression capability against a dispersed formation of small craft that the Hellfire's point target precision does not cover. The Sullivans herself contributes to the engagement with her Mark 45 5-inch 54 caliber naval gun, which has been loaded and trained on bearing 062 degrees since the sonar contact report, and with her AN/SWY, one Phalanx CIWS Block IIIB, whose radar has been tracking the 6 fast attack craft contacts since the SPY-1D acquisition at 0242 hours. Against fast attack craft at 10 nautical miles, the Mark 45's GPS-guided extended-range munition rounds can engage with precision. At ranges below 2 nautical miles, the Phalanx CIWS transitions to direct anti-surface fire against the small craft with its 4,500 round-per-minute 20mm cannon, a mode the Block IIB's software supports and that the Sullivans has trained on in the current deployment. At 0244 hours and 18 seconds, the moment the fast attack craft acceleration was first confirmed on the SPY-1D, the Sullivans' AN/SLQ 32 V3 electronic warfare system detects a new emission cluster on bearing 031 degrees northeast, multiple turbojet engine infrared signatures at low altitude, range approximately 22 nautical miles, consistent with the Shahed 136 piston engine one-way attack drone approach profile, but with a different acoustic signature suggesting a mixed group. The EW officer classifies the emissions as probable drone swarm within 30 seconds. The swarm is approaching from the northeast, a different bearing than the fast attack craft on bearing 062, a simultaneous 2-axis attack with different approach vectors separated by 31 degrees of azimuth and synchronized to arrive at the platform at approximately the same time. 18 drones. The SPY-1D resolves the northeast contacts as 18 discrete tracks at 0244 hours and 51 seconds as the drones clear the radio frequency clutter of the Iranian coastline and present clean returns. 18 Shahed 136 variant contacts at 22 nautical miles, approaching at approximately 185 kilometers per hour. Flight profile consistent with the platform targeting mode the IRGC has employed against fixed offshore infrastructure in previous operations. A higher altitude approach of approximately 400 meters designed to maximize the drone's line of sight to the platform's flare signature, which provides passive homing capability that supplements the GNSS inertial navigation in the terminal approach phase. The Sullivans' commanding officer has 2 simultaneous threats from 2 bearings. He has a 5-inch gun, a Phalanx, 2 AH-1Z Vipers now airborne, a SM-2 Block IIIB in the VLS, and the ESSM Block II that fills the remaining forward VLS cells. He has been in the CIC for 447 patrols. He makes 2 calls simultaneously at 0245 hours and 02 seconds. The AH-1Z flight leader to engage the fast attack craft on bearing 062, and the TAO to begin SM-2 and ESSM engagement sequence against the northeast drone contacts. The SM-2 Block IIIB engages the drone swarm at 0246 hours. The first SM-2 launches on the northeast bearing at 22 nautical miles, guided by the SPY-1D's continuous track. At 18 nautical miles, 17 nautical miles, 15. The ESSM Block II supplements, targeting the highest density contacts in the formation center. Between 0246 and 0248 hours, 11 drone contacts are incapacitated by SM-2 and ESSM combined. 7 remain, now inside 10 nautical miles on the northeast bearing. The Phalanx Block IIB's AN/VPS-2, tracking radar, oriented northeast against the drone swarm, begins engagement at 0248 hours and 31 seconds. as the surviving contacts enter the 5 nautical mile terminal envelope. The M197 equivalent on the Phalanx sweeps through the formation. 4 drone contacts incapacitated between 0248 and 0249 hours. 3 remain. The Sullivans Mark 45 5-inch gun trained northeast engages the final 3 drone contacts with proximity-fused rounds at 0249 hours and 14 seconds. The gun crew fires 6 rounds. 3 drone contacts incapacitated between 3.4 and 2.1 nautical miles from the platform. The last drone impact the Persian Gulf surface 2.1 nautical miles short of the Safaniya Alpha platform at 0249 hours and 44 seconds. None of the 18 drones reached the platform. On bearing 062, the AH-1Z engagement has been running since 0245 hours. Hawk 1, the lead Viper call sign, acquired all 6 Seraj-class contacts on the AN/AAQ-30 at 0245 hours and 17 seconds. The thermal contrast between the fast attack craft's engines and the 30 °C Persian Gulf water surface, providing crisp infrared definition at 7.4 nautical miles. Hawk 1 fires the first AGM-114R Hellfire at 0245 hours and 31 seconds, laser designator locked on the lead Seraj's engine compartment. The Hellfire's flight time at 7 nautical miles is approximately 18 seconds. Impact at 0245 hours and 49 seconds. Lid Seraj's engine compartment opens, and the craft decelerates immediately to 0 forward speed, its propulsion destroyed. Hawk 1 transitions to the second contact. Hawk 2, flying a parallel attack approach 800 meters to Hawk 1 starboard, engages the second pair of contacts simultaneously. 4 Seraj contacts are incapacitated by Hellfire in the first 90 seconds of the AH-1Z engagement. Hawk 1 firing 2, Hawk 2 firing 2. The remaining 2 Seraj contacts, observing 4 of their formation destroyed in the darkness ahead of them, continue closing at 31 knots. Their crews apparently committed to a terminal attack run against the Safaniya platform, regardless of the engagement developing around them. They are now 4.8 nautical miles from the platform and closing. The Sullivans Mark 45, which has been oriented northeast for the drone engagement, is training to bearing 062 as the gun crew completes the fire mission transition. At 0249 hours and 51 seconds, the first Mark 45 round fires against the nearer of the 2 surviving Seraj contacts at 3.2 nautical miles. The GPS-guided round impacts within 4 meters of the contact. The Seraj's aluminum hull, unarmored, absorbs the 5-inch shell's energy, and the craft ceases to function as a directed military asset. The final Seraj contact is engaged by Hawk 1 at 0250 hours and 03 seconds. The Viper's M197 cannon, in a firing pass at 0.8 nautical miles, 250 rounds of 20 millimeters in 2 seconds against the fast attack craft's cockpit and engine bay. The Seraj's 23mm autocannon, which had been tracking the AH-1Z, goes silent. The craft continues coasting northeast under residual momentum, its crew incapacitated, its propulsion destroyed, its mission over. At 0250 hours and 03 seconds, 8 minutes and 56 seconds after first sonar contact, the threat picture is clear. 18 drone contacts from the northeast, 11 by SM-2 and ESSM, 4 by Phalanx, 3 by Mark 45, 6 fast attack craft from bearing 062, 4 by AGM-114R Hellfire from AH-1Z Viper, 1 by Mark 45 5-inch, 1 by AH-1Z M197 20mm cannon. 0 contacts reached the Safaniya Alpha platform. The platform's 47 Saudi Aramco personnel, who received the Protection Force alert at 0243 hours and have been in their muster stations since 0243 hours and 40 seconds, are confirmed safe at 0251 hours when the Sullivans bridge crew contacts the platform's duty officer on the dedicated maritime security radio circuit. The platform is undamaged. Production operations, which were not suspended during the engagement, continue at normal output. The flare is still burning orange against the black sky. Now let us examine the IRGC's combined arms operation and what it reveals about Iranian tactical evolution, and why that evolution, despite its sophistication, produced zero effects against the specific defensive architecture it encountered. The two-axis combined arms approach, fast attack craft from one bearing, drone swarm from a divergent bearing, timed for simultaneous arrival, is a genuine tactical innovation compared to the single-vector fast boat swarms and single-vector drone attacks that IRGC doctrine employed in previous years. The operational logic is sound. A surface defender engaging fast attack craft must orient its gun systems and close in weapons toward the fast boat bearing, which creates a coverage gap on other bearings that the simultaneous drone attack can exploit. The Phalanx, the Mark 45, and the AH-1Z are all directional systems that cannot simultaneously address two widely separated bearing sectors at maximum effectiveness. The IRGC's planners identified this correctly. What they did not identify correctly was the solution the Sullivans employed: organic rotary wing attack capability that operates independently of the ship's own weapons orientation. The two AH-1Z Vipers were assigned to the fast attack craft bearing specifically because the AH-1Z's attack geometry is completely decoupled from the Sullivans' own gun and CIWS orientations. While the Phalanx addressed the northeast drone sector, the AH-1Z was engaging bearing 062 with Hellfire and cannon. Two independent weapon systems covering two simultaneous threat sectors without the orientation conflict that the IRGC's planners calculated would create a defensive gap. The presence of an organic attack helicopter detachment aboard the Sullivans was specifically the capability the IRGC's planners did not account for when they designed the two-axis approach doctrine. The sonar detection deserves equal attention. The IRGC's fast attack craft approached at 18 knots on a reduced signature profile specifically designed to delay radar detection until they accelerated to attack speed. Against a destroyer whose radar detection threshold for a small surface contact at low speed is approximately 8 nautical miles at best in favorable conditions, the 18-knot approach profile would have provided approximately 12 to 14 minutes of undetected approach in the IRGC's planning. What the planning did not account for was the AN/SQS-53C hull-mounted sonar, which detects propeller acoustic signatures rather than radar cross-sections, and which acquired the Seraj formation at 11 nautical miles, 3 nautical miles beyond the radar detection threshold, providing 4 minutes and 23 seconds of additional warning. Those 4 minutes were the difference between Alert 5 and Alert 30 for the AH-1Z crews. At Alert 30, the Vipers would have been airborne 30 minutes after contact, by which time the fast attack craft would have been at the platform. At Alert 5, they were airborne in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The sonar saved the platform. Saudi Aramco's production supervisor at Safaniya Alpha transmits a brief message to the Saudi Ministry of Energy at 0257 hours. Operation normal. No damage. U.S. Navy security force addressed external threat. Production rate unchanged. The ministry forwards the report to Riyadh. The Sullivans' commanding officer transmits his post-engagement report to 5th Fleet at 0304 hours. Hawk 1 and Hawk 2 recover to the Sullivans' flight deck at 0312 hours. The flight deck crew begins the post-flight inspection. The AH-1Z's Hellfire rails are empty. The M197 ammunition drum is partially depleted. Everything else is nominal. The Persian Gulf produces 25% of the world's oil. The Safaniya field produces 1.2 million barrels of it per day. The IRGC sent 18 drones and 6 fast attack craft to interrupt that production tonight. They sent a combined arms package that represented the most sophisticated 2-axis coordinated attack against a fixed offshore platform in the Gulf's recent operational history. The attack was detected at 11 nautical miles by a sonar that was not supposed to be the primary detection system. The AH-1Z detachment that the IRGC's planners did not account for destroyed 4 fast attack craft with Hellfire missiles before the Sullivans' own guns addressed the 5th and 6th. The drones never reached the platform. The flare at Safaniya Alpha is still burning. The Sullivans is resuming her patrol ellipse. The 47 Aramco personnel are back at their duty stations. And somewhere in a Bandar Abbas operations center, the after-action assessment of a combined arms operation that achieved 0 effects against its target, despite its tactical sophistication, is being written by someone who will need to explain, in careful and specific terms, what the sonar and the helicopters represent, and why those 2 capabilities were not in the planning model. Bye for now.